Hello YouTube, Byron at Splitting Slices. Welcome back to my channel. Today is Warny Wednesday. That is May 7th, 2025. And so I wanted to go ahead and talk about one of my favorite slip joints that I like to carry, usually as what Bob DeMarco of the Knife Junkie calls my emotional support knife. So it's usually on me if I want to have a conversation piece to talk about, because it is such a unique knife and it has two great blade shapes. But we're here today to talk about the Warny blade, so let's get into it. Here's one of my favorite EDC pouches. I've come to the conclusion that while I like big, thick knives, what I like from an EDC pouch is something that is minimal, soft, small, and easy to get in and out of the pocket. So what I carry in this Easy Ant leather pouch, 3-pocket, is an Olight flashlight, a plastic pen that is collapsible to fit down in this small pocket, and a knife. And my favorite knife to carry in this is this Ohio River Jack. Now, this was the first knife designed by Austin Jackson, the sole proprietor of traditional pocket knives in C. Risner Cutlery outside of Dayton, Ohio. He worked with QSP in China to make this knife, but it's his design, and he released this in several different configurations. He, I think, had 3 different blade shapes as a single-bladed jackknife, but then he also released a 2-bladed jackknife, and that's this one here in one of the configurations and colors that he released it in, the tan micarta. So let's go ahead and get into this. I'm going to open up and show you the first blade shape briefly. This is the spearpoint blade of M390 steel, and the Warny is also M390, but we're not here to talk about the spear. Let's go ahead and get out the Warny blade and talk about this beautiful Wharncliffe. Now, of course, the definition of a Wharncliffe blade is a blade that does not have a centered tip. The tip is at the very edge of the blade cutting edge. And so the spine of the blade will slowly curve down to the final tip. But more importantly, the definition is that cutting edge is completely flat. So it is parallel to the knife body, it is parallel to the ground, there is no belly or curvature to it. If you'd lay it up against a flat edge or a flat table, there'd be no gaps of light between that cutting surface and that flat surface. So a completely straight and flat cutting edge. Now, this knife is 56 of 100, so it was a limited edition run that Austin made in these. And to me, this is just a beautiful, thick, heavy-duty slip joint that I love to carry. Let's talk about a few of the specs of it. So first of all, the knife weighs 4.8 ounces, so it is a relatively heavy knife by EDC standards, but it's no heavier than a typical heavy-duty modern folder. So if you carry a cold steel, if you carry an Off-Grid Knives modern folder, you're right there as far as the weight on this knife. Now, the blade length is 2 7/8 inches long. That's both the spear and the Warny. The Warny has a cutting edge of 2 5/8 inches, where the spear has a cutting edge of about 3 1/8. Of course, you have the tip of the spear that gives that longer cutting edge. The overall length of the knife when opened is 6 5/8 inches long. And you have approximately a handle length of, I think it's 3 1/8 inches. Maybe around 3.5 inches handle length. Now, the construction of this is a modern traditional slip joint. So what that means is the flutes and the bolsters are integral to the frame of this knife. There are micarta inlays that are screwed into each side of the knife with T6 pocket screws, Torx screws. You have a T8 Torx pivot screw for this construction. And in order to prevent blade wrap or that knife edge hitting the bottom inside of the knife in the pockets, you have a stop pin up on the kick or on the pommel of the slip joint blade itself. All right. Pretty good pull on these blades. I want to say out of a pull of 10, which you can barely get it open, to 0, which it'd basically fall out. This has about a 7 to 7.5 pull rating for me. A little bit tougher, not for the faint of heart, not for the weak-nailed. It definitely takes advantage of the fuller nail nicks on both of these blades. And I like the fact that it's a deep groove, so you can not only get your nail in there, but you can also get a little bit of meat of your finger to open that blade up. So it just makes it nice to use. All right, what else can I tell you? So the overall height of the knife is 1 1/8 inches, and that's from the top of the Wharncliffe blade to the bottom of the scales. The overall thickness of the handle scales and knife frame is 11/16, so just shy of 3/4 of an inch. So it's definitely a thicker knife, but I like that because it gives a really full feel in the hand when you go to grip it and use it for work. Just been a fantastic emotional support knife and unique carry for me over these last 3 years. These knives were released as a first run in 2022. Now, I'm not sure if Austin's going to bring out the Ohio River Jack in a new version, or a V2 or V3. I guess he did release a V2 in titanium and S90 steel, so I'm not sure if he's going to do the double blades anymore. We will just have to wait and find out together. Now, this knife originally retailed at TPK for around $150, $160, somewhere in that price range. But again, they are no longer available. You will have to consult the secondary market if you would like to get a hold of one. I have seen them on sale occasionally on the Apostle P's channel. That's Rob Bixby. You can look him up. Of course, he runs a knife sale every week, Thursdays, and posts at 9 p.m. Eastern. So if you're interested, check out his channel and his posts, and maybe you can pick up one of these for yourself. Just a great, I want to say 3.5 to 4 finger handled knife with a heavy pull, beautiful construction, and a fantastic carry. All right, well, that's it for me today, folks. Wharncliffe Wednesday, the Ohio River 2-bladed jack. And this is Byron from Splitting Slices saying, please split a slice with a friend soon. And until my next video, everybody please, out there in YouTube land, take care.